to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Today on Good Morning Maine, we'll have the latest on the deadly mid-air crash over Washington, along with local reactions.
Plus, fire crews work quickly after fire erupts inside a home in Orrington.
And an organization that works to improve life in Ellsworth is celebrating a big anniversary. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us on this Friday morning. We'll have those stories and more coming up. But first, to check that forecast. Looks like a quiet day today for the most part. We'll see more clouds today than we did yesterday. And then later on, there's a chance for a little bit of snow. Not a big storm by any means, but it could make the roads a little slippery out there.
Still pretty chilly.
Sure is.
Here's Devin Biggs with the forecast.
And thank you very much, Craig and Emma. Happy Friday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Northwoods Hearing Aid Center in Lincoln, Maine, providing quality hearing care while accepting most Medicare Advantage plans and private pay. Contact them today to schedule your free hearing test. Already a small crowd advisory is up until 11 p.m. this evening. We still have some active surf that's taking place this morning and throughout the day. We also have some snow that's tracking through this morning as well. It may accumulate just a little bit, but will not be a whole lot. This will back off later on today. We might have a few flurries left over, and that's about it. The main activities further down to the south and west, tracking off towards the north and east. That will pass by later on tonight and give areas along and south of Bangor an opportunity for some snow. So there's a little bit of snow throughout the daytime period today. Along and south of Bangor later on tonight, there's a snow that will be passing through. Some gusty winds today reaching up to 20 to 25 miles per hour at times. It will back off for a bit, but later on tonight and parts of tomorrow, gusty winds up to 20 to 25 miles per hour will be a possibility yet again. So for today, we have mid-30s, mostly cloudy, some snow showers on the way, mainly during the morning period, and that west wind at around 5 miles per hour. Your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing a mostly cloudy sky, snow showers early, maybe a few flurries for the afternoon, with temperatures overall in the mid-30s later on. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Emma.
Thank you, Devin. And now to the investigation into the disaster over the Potomac River, Crews will be working in the rain today at the scene where a packed American Airlines regional jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter collided and crashed into the water. The remains of nearly 2/3 of the 67 presumed victims have been recovered, and investigators are already working with key pieces of evidence. Here's ABC's Nicole D'Antonio.
This morning, the flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder, known as the black boxes, have been recovered from the American Airlines plane that collided with a Black Hawk helicopter over the Potomac River.
We'll be able to put it in space and time, exactly what headings were they on, what airspeeds were they flying, what was their attitude, and a lot of other information that may help us understand the accident.
The Army helicopter on a training flight crashed into the passenger jet as the plane was landing at Reagan Airport. All 64 people on board the plane and 3 soldiers on the chopper are presumed dead. Dive teams have stopped operations after saying they've recovered all the bodies they're able to without moving the plane's fuselage. Today, they begin the work of trying to salvage aircraft components.
We look at facts on our investigation, and that will take some time.
In the final moments of the flight, air traffic control asked the pilots of the plane to land on a different runway. Radio traffic does not reveal whether the plane's pilots saw the helicopter, but a helicopter pilot can be heard acknowledging the plane. And the flight path shows the chopper flying at about 350 feet when it should have been flying at under 200 feet. One expert says early indications show a tragic sequence of events, suggesting the helicopter pilots were looking at the wrong plane. It's unclear how many air traffic controllers were working at the time of the crash, but an FAA report says staffing in the tower was not normal. Sources say the controller handling helicopters in the area during the collision was also handling airline traffic. Those jobs are typically assigned to 2 separate controllers, but supervisors routinely combine them when aircraft volume goes down. On the night of the crash, the decision to combine those jobs was made 40 minutes earlier than usual because of lighter traffic. Safety concerns have been increasing in the airspace around Reagan Airport. The airport was designed to accommodate 15 million passengers each year, but now sees more than 25 million a year. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News in Arlington, Virginia.
Well, President Trump has suggested that DEI programs may have played a role in the crash. Experts in the aviation industry disagree. Trump also claimed that under the Biden administration, the FAA pushed for the hiring of people with disabilities.
They include hearing, vision, missing extremities, partial paralysis, complete paralysis, epilepsy, severe intellectual disability, psychiatric disability, and dwarfism all qualify for the position of a controller.
Now, the American Association with People with Disabilities slamming Trump's comments, saying FAA employees with disabilities did not cause the crash, and DEI hiring did not cause the crash either. Continuing by saying using the tragedy to push the president's anti-diversity hiring agenda is inappropriate and wrong. A former FAA official also disputing Trump's claims, saying DEI and similar programs do not apply to the hiring of air traffic controllers, saying anyone applying must meet the same rigorous standards, whether they're disabled or not. And hiring is selective. In 2022, 57,000 people applied for an air traffic position. Only 1,000 made it to the first day of training.
As we continue to follow developments out of D.C., our Alex Schley tells us how Bangor International Airport was affected.
It was very stunning because we had flown out of DCA yesterday on that exact runway.
Travelers at Bangor International Airport Thursday were stunned by the news of an American Airlines flight's mid-air collision with a military helicopter in D.C.
I felt sorry for all the families and the military guys too.
Despite DCA reopening at 11 a.m., all American Airlines flights between Bangor and Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport were canceled through Friday morning.
We were automatically rebooked for tomorrow, but we stopped by to see what our options were.
Andrew Weimer says he and his colleagues who were in Maine on business were bumped to a 12:35 p.m. flight Friday.
We all live in D.C. and have family down there, so we're just going to drive to Boston and try to get a flight from there.
While travelers scrambled to find an alternative route home, questions arose about the aircraft involved in the crash. The plane involved in the incident Wednesday night is the same model that American Airlines uses for its Bangor to D.C. commuter flight. In fact, according to FlightAware, the exact plane involved in the mid-air collision made 2 trips through Bangor International Airport earlier this week, once on Sunday and again on Tuesday.
We are constantly preparing and training for emergency scenarios because you never know. Unfortunately, accidents do happen.
Travelers in Bangor Thursday say, despite the accident, they feel safe flying.
I trust people. Flying's a lot safer than driving any day.
This is the first accident like this since basically 2009.
American airline flights between Bangor and D.C. are scheduled to resume Friday afternoon. However, airport officials remind travelers to always check their flight status before heading to the airport. In Bangor, I'm Alex Schley for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
In other news this morning, a man from Massachusetts was killed Thursday after his snowmobile collided with a box truck. The Somerset County Sheriff's Office says 52-year-old Jamie Rooney was riding a snowmobile on a trail with a friend when they came upon Hastings Road in Jackman. He couldn't stop in time and ended up hitting a box truck around 2 p.m. According to the Morning Sentinel, Rooney was unfamiliar with the trail and didn't slow down where the trail crossed the roadway. Rooney was wearing a helmet, but he died at the scene.
An Orrington home is a total loss after a fire broke out 2 nights ago. According to the Orrington Fire Chief, Scott Stewart, crews responded to a call for a structure fire at 988 Brewer Lake Road. When crews arrived on scene, they found fire in the basement and on the first floor, extending into the attic. Crews were able to initially make out an interior attack, but needed to shift to a defensive operation when they discovered the floor had failed. Chief Stewart says last night's freezing temperatures added an extra level of difficulty to the response, but crews were able to work around complications.
Yeah, our number one tool that we use is water, in this type of weather makes ice. So, the guys have done a really good job. I've got the easy job, they got the hard job, and the guys are covered in ice currently, and it's typical Maine fire.
No one was home at the time of the fire and no one was injured. The fire marshal's office is expected to begin an investigation into the cause of the fire today.
Well, a fire broke out Thursday morning in a barn located on Ridge Road in Windsor. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bouchard has those details.
Around 9 a.m. on Thursday, the Windsor Fire Department responded to 455 Ridge Road for reports of a barn on fire. When units arrived, the front side of the barn was fully engulfed.
And within minutes, due to a strong wind headed to the east, it was fully involved in pretty much defensive operations from there.
Neighbors we spoke to who didn't want to be on camera confirmed that they had seen animals in and around the barn. Chief Reddy says all of the animals are uninjured.
The animals were in the other building, and the homeowner has put them out to the backside of the field, and they've been transported off scene since then.
Crews from Windsor, Jefferson, China, Chelsea, and the surrounding areas battled the flames well into the afternoon. While the cold temperatures added to the difficulty, Chief Reddy says they were prepared.
Most of the firefighters are very dedicated, and they do as much as they can. We are trying to rotate crews out from other departments to give them a break and get some fresh legs under us.
Chief Reddy says there were no injuries and they don't yet know the cause of the fire. The barn is considered a total loss. In Windsor, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Of course, those temps yesterday made it all the more difficult to fight those fires.
Yeah.
All right, the time now is 6:11. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, an organization that works to make Ellsworth a better place to live and work is celebrating an important anniversary this year. We'll hear about the mission of the Heart of Ellsworth.
But first, another check of that weather forecast. Today will be a cloudy day with a chance of snow later on. The highs around 35 degrees. Mostly cloudy with snow overnight. Lows dropping down to around 9. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and breezy for your Saturday. High temperatures around 20 degrees. We'll be right back.
How's football and a Super Bowl team helping kids learn?
How did we get to learning about the thousands place value? By Saquon Barkley. By his rushing yards.
This morning, the Philly teacher and her students soaring just like on Good Morning America.
Gun Sports and Brewer knows that for fun, exercise, and meeting new friends, nothing is better than ice skating. Whether it's sailing down the ice, making a great pass, and scoring in a game of hockey, or the grace, strength, and expression of figure skating. From the youngest child all the way to adulthood, anyone can enjoy the fun of skating. At Gun Sports, we supply the equipment for your skating fun for great prices, the proper fit, and service after the sale. Shop your locally owned Gun Sports shop, Greenpoint Road in Brewer.
Upset stomach? Iberogast. Indigestion? Iberogast. Bloating? Iberogast. Thanks to a unique combination of herbs, Iberogast helps relieve 6 digestive symptoms to help you feel better. 6 digestive symptoms, the power of nature. Iberogast.
This is my playpen.
I get that, Your Honor.
Perfect.
Judge Judy never misses a beat.
Weeknights at 5 on ABC7.
Everything has led to this.
The Jeopardy Tournament of Champions.
You're so excited.
Who will claim the ultimate prize? $250,000. The Tournament of Champions.
Never fear, anything can happen in a game of Jeopardy.
This week at 7:30, only on ABC7.
Welcome back, everyone. Millinocket has been chosen as the site for a renewable fuel oil facility. Castle Rock Biofuels and R. Katahdin made the announcement on Thursday. The company uses treetops, limbs, and branches to produce up to 20 million gallons of bio oil annually. It will be sold to large institutional heating customers in the Northeast, and the plant will be located at the former Great Northern Paper Mill site. Castle Rock Biofuels CEO John Murphy says Millinocket is the perfect location.
It's really the combination of, the access of wood, the availability of the site, the opportunity to replace tax base in the town, and to provide jobs and kind of get the economic growth engine going.
Murphy says he knows Millinocket residents have heard about other plans that eventually fell through, but Castle Rock Biofuels already has financing and its permits. He says it will provide up to 150 construction jobs at peak development and approximately 80 full-time jobs when in operation. According to Murphy, it's also expected to support 92 jobs in the forest industry supply chain.
Acadia National Park could feel the impact of a federal hiring freeze. Millions of people visit the park each year. A federal hiring freeze put in place by the Trump administration could leave Acadia understaffed during its busiest seasons. A U.S. Department of the Interior spokesperson released a statement yesterday saying, quote, "The Department of the Interior and the National Park Service are implementing President Donald J. Trump's executive order across the federal civilian workforce." Senator Angus King's office released a statement earlier this week that said, quote, "As visitation increases at our parks, Senator King is insistent that our parks must have the necessary funding to operate, which includes, but is not limited to, both staffing and maintenance. Without this funding, the visitor experience is likely to be negatively impacted."
Well, fundraisers are in the works to support the families of the two Addison fishermen believed to have been lost at sea. According to a Facebook post by Sonny Shepard, there is a GoFundMe available for all donations going directly to Melanie Barrett, the wife of Chet Barrett, and their son Aaron. A benefit supper is also auction is also scheduled for Wednesday, February 5th at 4 p.m. That will be held at the Community of Christ Church in Jonesport. A link to the GoFundMe page and the Facebook page organizing the benefit dinner can be found on our website at foxbangor.com.
The nonprofit Heart of Ellsworth is celebrating a major milestone this year. Our Doug Banks spoke with its executive director, who says while many things have changed over the years, their moral compass has not.
An Ellsworth nonprofit whose sole purpose is infusing its city with beauty and hope is celebrating its 10-year anniversary. The Heart of Ellsworth is in the business of making sure its community has what it needs to thrive, including constant events, activities, beautification projects,
as well as making sure that the community and business owners and the municipality and other area nonprofits all are sort of working together.
Today, downtown Ellsworth boasts a variety of businesses, but Romano says 10 years ago, this wasn't the case.
When we started, downtown Ellsworth was at a 50% vacancy rate.
Using a pop-up business model, matching promising businesses with building owners, and kickstarting various community-centered events, life and vibrancy began to grow.
It kind of starts with those relationships, and then it keeps going to putting energy into the space and then having people from the outside really want to come here because it's sort of a bed of activity.
Born from a Downtown Merchants Association meeting 10 years ago, the Heart of Ellsworth is blossoming alongside its city. While their work is ever evolving, the integrity of Ellsworth's historic infrastructure and the aspirations of its people are the things Romano describes as the foundation for what they hope to accomplish.
All of those things together make up our bones of who we are as a city. And that is sort of what kind of makes all of this worthwhile and makes all of it work, is because the foundation was here. It just needed to be cared for.
In Ellsworth, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
All right, the time now is 6:18. After the break, the EPA has moved into parts of Southern California, trying to remove hazardous materials in the first stage of the cleanup after wildfires. We'll see the destruction.
Plus, that full weather forecast coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Brandywine Graphics makes it easy. We are the top source for screen printing, embroidery, branded merchandise, and direct-to-garment printing. With 25 years experience, state-of-the-art equipment, and a commitment to excellence, why trust your apparel products with anyone else? And now, Brandywine Graphics can easily launch online stores for your school or organization. Simply design your products from brands like Eddie Bauer, Carhartt, and more. Share the link and we'll do the rest. Like we said, Brandywine Graphics makes it easy. Find out more at brandywinegraphics.com or at our Hamden location.
You come alive in the dead of winter and start work early on snow days, because snowed in is not an option. The Kubota Snow lineup of compact tractors, RTVs, and versatile attachments are built to move, plow, blow, and thrive in the winter. So when the snow falls, you could rise to meet it. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for up to 84 months, plus save up to $300.
Available at Doors Equipment, 1468 Outer Hammond Street, Bangor.
Did he lose his shirt? I have never seen anybody lose their shirt.
I guess deny and delay didn't work today. Now look at him.
Who's the law firm?
The law offices of Joe Bornstein.
If you've been injured in an accident, call Joe. The law offices of Joe Bornstein. Maine lawyers working for Maine people.
Tell the insurance company you mean business.
Welcome back, everyone. Crews with the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency began sifting through the rubble of the devastating fire in Altadena, California on Thursday, looking to clear potentially hazardous materials from lots flattened by the wildfire.
Workers in white hazmat suits, hard hats, and other protective gear rummaged through the rubble of burned-out homes, plucking out paint cans and batteries by hand. According to 22-year EPA veteran and on-site coordinator Harry Allen, the task is one of the biggest and most complex jobs the agency has ever seen. Key to the cleanup efforts is the lithium-ion batteries found in power tools, toys, and cars. The EPA is running the initial phase of cleanup before government or private contractors come in with heavy equipment to clear entire lots. The Trump administration gave EPA a deadline of February 25th.
Boy, what a job. You think about the pesticides and other things like that, with the hazardous things we have in our homes. And
yeah, I mean, every little lithium battery, they have to find those because those are fire hazards.
Right.
And they're not always like big car batteries either.
It's going to be a long cleanup process.
Yeah. All right, the time now is 6:21.
Let's get a full look at our forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Northwoods Hearing Aid Center in Lincoln, Maine, providing quality hearing care while accepting most Medicare Advantage plans and private pay. Contact them today to schedule your free hearing test. Alrighty, here we go. A small crowd advisory is posted until 11 p.m. this evening along the coast. Some active surf will be a possibility until about that point. Meanwhile, moving forward, we do have wave heights that are at around 5 feet, so that is why those small crowd advisories are active. We'll start to see the wave heights backing off later on this evening, but just for a short time or so. But meanwhile, we are waking up to some snowfall this morning. It may accumulate just a little bit, but it will not be a whole lot. We'll push this through, and then our focus will turn across the central and eastern parts of the U.S. as we are watching some showers and even some thunderstorms developing. This will bring a little bit of snow into our backyard coming up later on tonight. So let's talk about futurecast. The first round of snow will get out of here, maybe a few leftover flurries later on today. And then later on tonight, again, starting at around 8 o'clock or so, we'll watch for snow along and south of Bangor. It will last during the overnight period. It will be out of here by Saturday morning. Saturday, we will see a lot of sunshine, a nice day to overall enjoy things. A few passing clouds maybe as well. But then by Saturday night, we will be under a mostly clear sky. Meanwhile, let's talk about the snowfall, maybe a little bit more of additional snowfall today. Later on tonight, that's when the next round of snow passes through. In general, around 1 to 2 inches of snow possible before it backs off. A few localized areas of up to 3 inches cannot be ruled out along the coast. Otherwise, some gusty winds reaching up to 20 to 25 miles per hour early today. It will back off later on, but then overnight tonight, gusty winds do pick back up again, getting close to 20 to 25 miles per hour at times in some areas. So overall for today, we have mid-30s, mostly cloudy, snow showers in the morning, maybe a few flurries during the afternoon, and that west wind at around 5 miles per hour. By tonight, 9 degrees, mostly cloudy, snow mainly to the south, along and south of Bangor, north wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Again, today and tonight, some higher gusts are possible. For tomorrow, lower 20s, mostly sunny and breezy outside, and the north wind at around 25 miles per hour. Alrighty, let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Northwoods Hearing Aid Center in Lincoln, Maine. Again, lots of sunshine for your Saturday with highs in the low 20s. Groundhog Day on Sunday, mostly cloudy with highs in the low 20s. Another chance for rain and snow on Monday with highs in the upper 30s and upper 20s for your Tuesday under a partly cloudy sky.
Goose River Farm and Meat Store is conveniently located on Route 3 across from Hammond Lumber in Belfast. They have a wide selection of meat and poultry, including beef, pork, lamb, chicken, duck, rabbit, and turkey. Open Tuesday through Saturday.
Winter is a time to get outside and enjoy all that Maine has to offer. And when it's time to come inside, rest assured everything's toasty because of your Fujitsu heat pump from Valley Home Services. The comfort and warmth of home means more on days like these. Push a button and you'll be snuggling up on the couch in no time. Valley Home Services offers reliable rebates, significant energy savings, and expert installation. Embrace the comfort of Fujitsu heat pumps from Valley Home Services. Call or click today.
Hi, this is Jim with Lowry & Associates.
Some guy slid across the center line and hit my daughter. The cops said the guy was driving way too fast for the snowy conditions.
I'm so sorry you guys are going through this. Is your daughter okay?
She just had surgery yesterday. Is there any way you can come meet us at the hospital?
Absolutely. I can meet you at the hospital right now.
Lowry & Associates came to the hospital and settled my daughter's case for $250,000.
I'm Jim with Lowry & Associates. Call us. We win for you.
I don't often sit down, but when I do, I prefer a flex steel recliner.
The world's most fascinating Furniture Man recliners have been used by dignitaries to sit and discuss world issues. But he'll tell you that the most important people that use them are people like you and I. We have much more important issues, like being comfortable for the big game. Before you buy a recliner, check Dorsey's quality and price. Dorsey Furniture, Route 1A Holden, open 7 days a week until 5 p.m.
Be comfortable, my friends.
Let Hellman's Bakery put a smile on your face with their tasty offerings of breads, baked beans, lasagna, tuche and turkey pies, fruit and cream pies, wedding and specialty cakes, pastries, and more. Hillman's, your hometown bakery, Fairfield.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Now to a tough day of questioning for three of President Trump's most controversial nominees. His picks for FBI Director, Director of National Intelligence, and Health Secretary faced off with Senate Democrats and, in some cases, Republicans. Here's ABC's Andrew Dimbert.
In his second day of questioning, Health Secretary nominee Robert Kennedy was grilled about his vaccine skepticism.
Your past of undermining confidence in vaccines with unfounded or misleading arguments concerns me.
Senator, I am not going into the agency with any.
Well, that's kind of a yes or no question, because because the data is there.
Kennedy refused to reject claims that certain vaccines cause autism, claims that have been disproven.
Mr. Kennedy, that first autism study rocked my world. And like every mother, I worried about whether, in fact, the vaccine had done something to my son. And when you continue to sow doubt about settled science, it makes it impossible for us to move forward.
Meanwhile, Kash Patel, Trump's nominee to lead the FBI, clashing with Democrats over his past statements about the media.
And here's what this nominee himself has said about using his office to prosecute journalists. We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Is that a correct quotation, Mr. Patel?
Senator, that's a partial quotation.
But it's correct.
In part.
Patel, who's claimed his mission is to annihilate the so-called deep state, made a break from Trump when asked about commuting the sentences of January 6 rioters.
And I do not agree with the commutation of any sentence of any individual who committed violence against law enforcement.
Tulsi Gabbard, Trump's pick for intelligence chief, was questioned by members of both parties about her past statements supporting Edward Snowden, the NSA contractor who leaked classified information. Gabbard saying Snowden helped expose illegal government activities.
Your answer, yes or no, is Edward Snowden a traitor to the United States of America?
As someone who has worn our uniform in combat, I understand how critical our national security is.
Apparently you don't.
Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Well, Tulsi Gabbard answered questions from Senator Angus King during a hearing with the Select Committee on Intelligence as the process for her potential confirmation to the post of Director of National Intelligence plays out. King expressed doubts about her judgment, zeroing in on her advocacy for Edward Snowden, who was responsible for a massive intelligence leak that King said jeopardized national security. Gabbard denied ever having had any contact with Edward Snowden, but in 2020 introduced a bill that sought to pardon Snowden and have all charges against him dropped. She claimed the bill was based on publicly available information. When asked if she was aware of a report from a bipartisan intelligence committee in 2016 on Snowden's activities, she says she was aware of the report and executive summary, but did not have access to the classified report. She said she had access to the summary, but did not specifically recall reading it before drafting her bill. King pressed Gabbard on why she'd seek a pardon for someone responsible for a breach of national security.
but you ignore the vast majority, as the committee found, bipartisan. I think Devin Nunes was the chair, Adam Schiff was the vice chair. The conclusion was that the vast majority of these things that he released had nothing to do with constitutional rights, the Fourth Amendment, but indeed were enormous compromises of our national security.
Senator, I focused on raising concerns around egregious, illegal, and unconstitutional programs that our government was conducting that clearly violated Americans' Fourth Amendment rights.
Gabbard testified that she is aware that Snowden took over 1 million documents, but said she did not know how many he actually released. She also reiterated her commitment to protecting national security.
Amazon is facing a lawsuit by some users who are accusing the retail giant of secretly tracking them through their cell phones. A proposed class action lawsuit filed in a San Francisco court says the company obtained consumer tracking data through backdoor access to consumers' cell phones. The lawsuit says the company fed thousands of app developers with code known as Amazon Ads SDK that was embedded in its apps. The lawsuit claims the codes tracked where consumers worked, shopped, visited, and more without them knowing. The suit claims Amazon's activities violate California state law against unauthorized computer access. Amazon hasn't yet commented on the lawsuit. This is something that we're seeing a lot of companies be accused of. It's pretty easy to track your data and then sell it back to you as ads.
And who really reads those privacy agreements?
Nobody.
You know, people always just clicks on them.
Nobody.
But, you know, they have a lot of words in there that might indicate they're doing just that.
Right.
Yeah, scary.
Or it's code, and
right.
That's why they say backdoor access. All right, coming up on the second half of the newscast, a local elementary school was focusing on acts of service in the community. We'll learn about their good deeds.
Plus, that full weather forecast coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Hi, I'm Dr. Brian Gillis, board-certified surgeon specializing in gut health. Check out my new office in Brewer, Maine. Weight loss shots as low as $12.50 a week. Consultations absolutely free. Look for more information with my great staff on Facebook.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
It's the Furniture Gallery's anniversary sale. Celebrate with us and save big. Queen mattresses as low as $198. Want to recline? Recliners start at just $298. Or upgrade to a power recliner for just $398. Reclining sofa and recliner, just $998. The Furniture Gallery anniversary prices don't stop there. Refresh your living room. Sofas starting at just $448. Complete your bedroom, 5-piece set for only $898. Support our Maine family-owned business and save money. The Furniture Gallery.
Your favorite restaurants for half off. It's half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7. Go to foxbangor.com, click on half off dining, and start saving now.
Looking for a place the whole family will love? Gilmore's Restaurant has something for everyone. From legendary boneless wings to weekly specials and refreshing drinks, we're your neighborhood favorite. Whether it's family dinner or a night out, Gilmore's Restaurant is where memories are made. Family friendly and flavor packed? Visit us today.
Great restaurants from all over Eastern Maine at half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7.
Hi, I'm Dr. Brian Gillis, board-certified surgeon specializing in gut health. Check out my new office in Brewer, Maine. Weight loss shots as low as $12.50 a week. Consultations absolutely free. Look for more information with my great staff on Facebook.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Friday, January 31st, 2025. In case you were wondering, just 48 days to go until spring. Flowers will be popping up before you know it.
That seems like a long time.
I know.
It seems like a really long time.
Less than 2 months away. All right. It's also National Fun at Work today.
Craig, I
Fun at Work Day.
My coffee. It's Fun at Work Day, and I don't have any coffee.
You're usually game for some fun at work.
I'll try. Well, whether you work for a small office or a large organization, injecting fun into the workplace is a great way to bond with coworkers. It helps to boost morale, gain inspiration, and even increase productivity. This is a day to rally coworkers and bosses to find the best way to celebrate.
Well, it depends on your boss what they'll allow to happen. But
Or you could just have fun anyways.
Yeah.
And get fired.
yeah,
Woo!
we have fun all the time. Try to anyway.
Yeah.
All right, on this day in history, back in 1865, the 13th Amendment to the Constitution was ratified by the U.S. House of Representatives. That amendment abolished slavery in the United States. Also in 1865, General Robert E. Lee was named General-in-Chief of the Confederate Armies. In 1945, Army Private Eddie Slovic was executed by firing squad for desertion. His was the first execution for desertion since the Civil War and the only one to take place during World War II. And in 1949, the first TV daytime soap opera called These Are My Children made its television debut. Never heard of that one before.
Yeah, me either. In 1950, President Harry S. Truman announced the development of the hydrogen bomb, a weapon said to be hundreds of times more powerful than the atomic bombs dropped during World War II. In 1971, Apollo 14 launched from Cape Canaveral for the third U.S. mission to the moon. In 1990, the Soviet Union's first McDonald's restaurant opened in Moscow. Hundreds of people lined up to pay the equivalent of several days' wages to try Big Macs, shakes, and fries. It was a small but certain sign that change was on the horizon. In fact, the Soviet Union ceased to exist as a nation just less than 2 years later.
I went to that McDonald's like 4 years after that picture. It was still packed.
Really?
Every day back then. Yeah.
I believe it. In 2005, on this date, jury selection began for Michael Jackson's child molestation trial. The pop icon was later acquitted of the charges.
All right, for birthdays today, they include actress Kerry Washington, who is 48 years old today. Singer Justin Timberlake turns 44, and actress Minnie Driver turns 55 years old today.
I love Kerry Washington.
Yeah, I think she's a fantastic actress.
She's really good.
And just plain beautiful, too.
Yeah, right? Yeah, she's really good.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on now. Cold weather is continuing. It looks like we'll have a little bit of a break, though, at some point.
At some point. Spring is 48 days away.
Well, I mean, like in the 30s.
Yeah, things will start warming up. There's a chance for a little bit of snow later on. It's not going to be a big storm. In fact, some people won't see any snow at all. But if you live in down East Maine, you might get a little bit.
Good point.
So, yeah.
Here's Devin Biggs with the forecast.
And thank you very much, Craig and Emma. Happy Friday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Northwoods Hearing Aid Center in Lincoln, Maine, providing quality hearing care while accepting most Medicare Advantage plans and private pay. Contact them today to schedule your free hearing test. Already a small crowd advisory is up until 11 p.m. this evening. We still have some active surf that's taking place this morning and throughout the day. We also have some snow that's tracking through this morning as well. It may accumulate just a little bit, but will not be a whole lot. This will back off later on today. We might have a few flurries left over, and that's about it. The main activities further down to the south and west, tracking off towards the north and east. That will pass by later on tonight and give areas along and south of Bangor an opportunity for some snow. So there's a little bit of snow throughout the daytime period today. Along and south of Bangor later on tonight, there's a snow that will be passing through. Some gusty winds today reaching up to 20 to 25 miles per hour at times. It will back off for a bit, but later on tonight and parts of tomorrow, gusty winds up to 20 to 25 miles per hour will be a possibility yet again. So for today, we have mid-30s, mostly cloudy, some snow showers on the way, mainly during the morning period, and that west wind at around 5 miles per hour. Your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing a mostly cloudy sky, snow showers early, maybe a few flurries for the afternoon, with temperatures overall in the mid-30s later on. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Emma.
Thank you, Devin. Well, students from All Saints Catholic School in Bangor are making a difference in their community during National Catholic Schools Week.
Our Grace Blanchard explains.
This is just the next generation of people that will help support each other and really connect the community.
All this week, Catholic schools across the country are participating in community service projects during National Catholic Schools Week. Here in Bangor, the All Saints Catholic School organized a school-wide soup donation drive.
we were thinking, well, who in our community, is probably really affected this time of year especially, right? It's very, very cold this week. It's been cold the last couple weeks. So we decided that we would have a soup competition between our classes.
Between their 2 campuses in Bangor, the nearly 200 students in pre-K through 8th grade collected over 1,000 cans.
It's nice to know that we're helping Bangor and Brewer and the main area, basically.
All the food is being donated to the OHI Brewer Area Food Pantry, which serves roughly 500 households each month.
It feels very good. I know that all of us really enjoy giving back, and it's just, a really good feeling.
The food pantry's co-coordinator says they see an increase in food insecurity during the colder months as people face heating bills and other challenges.
This will be soup on the docket probably for the next several weeks for everybody in the community. It's huge.
The school's principal says they encourage students to take part in community service projects not just this week, but all year long.
It can mean a lot to other people in the community, and we don't always have to do these big projects or go overseas or go outside our communities. We can make a big difference right here every day.
In Bangor, Grace Blanchard, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Thing to do.
Yeah, right? And still to come here this morning, Tyler Cruz will have the latest with sports.
Don't go away.
It's time to start planning that new home or garage you've been thinking about. Hammond Lumber Company is here to help, offering complete building packages with everything you need. With several options on their website and thousands of unique plans in their in-house drawing catalog, Hammond will help you make your dreams a reality. Choose your materials from Hammond's extensive showroom displays, and Hammond will deliver your order from any of the locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Start planning your new home or garage at Hammond Lumber Company, your building project partner.
Friday nights are for basketball fans. Friday Night Fast Break is your source for everything that is Maine high school basketball. Highlights and local analysis. It's the only show that hits every corner of Maine's hardwood hoop landscape, high school, college, and professional. Join us Friday night during basketball season for Friday Night Fast Break on ABC 7 News at 11. Brought to you by Coastal Auto Parts, your local Napa Auto Parts dealer with 30 locations, owned and operated by a Maine family that cares.
My sister had multiple falls and broke her leg in the nursing home. She was out of her room and unsupervised. How did that happen?
If a serious injury has happened at a nursing home that's brought up cause for concern, call the 2s right now.
Our attorney at Lowry & Associates helped me get answers. He made sure the nursing home paid for what happened to my sister.
If you suspect nursing home abuse or neglect, we're your go-to lawyers.
Hey, good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Every day you feel right.
Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. It was a busy Thursday night in the sports world, and we'll start up on the wrestling mats at Mattanock Academy. The Lynx wrestling team, co-opted with PVHS, dominated the PVC tournament over the weekend, winning the conference title as a team with 6 individual conference champions as well as the Coach of the Year honor. The Lynx recorded 241.5 team points, with the next closest team coming in with 138. Head coach Matt Lindsay, who won Coach of the Year, says the team's chemistry plays a large part in their success.
They did really well this past weekend. What's special about them? They're goofballs. Honestly, they're an easy to get along with team. They know when to buckle down and work hard, but they're also able to have fun, and it keeps things interesting as a coach, you know.
The Lynx are known for their willingness to travel and wrestle New England's best teams, often going to meets way down south to see how they stack up against top competition, and the Lynx say that prepares them to conquer the North.
I'd say traveling to all these hard tournaments down in southern Maine and wrestling, especially out-of-state kids that are ranked in New England, that's really beneficial to us, and it really helps. It helped me out a lot.
But it's all the top teams that you're going to end up competing with for the state title. Like some of those Class B teams we see a lot are Durgo, Wells. That's going to be some of our toughest competition as states, and it's like a whole different game basically, and that's what prepares us to do that, and we're prepared to come up here and win the North.
The Lynx will be in action at the state dual meet Saturday in Sanford. Staying on the mats now, one of the fastest growing team sports across the United States may be making its way to Maine high schools very soon. That sport is girls high school wrestling. There are over 150 girls across Maine competing in various events and exhibition matches. Some of the wrestlers are also competing on co-ed teams with the boys. However, there's a proposal that's been sent to the MPA that would make girls wrestling an official team sport. Teams would be co-op to start. They'd be broken up into several regions, such as northern, central, and southern Maine, as well as the mid-coast. There would need to be a minimum of 10 teams for approval. Girls wrestling has taken off nationwide. The NCAA just approved it as a championship sport, and Belfast AD Susan Robbins has been spearheading the effort. She says the enthusiasm is at an all-time high.
The difference is when you offer the opportunity to the girls to just wrestle girls, it's more of a motivator because it is frankly intimidating to wrestle boys. There are many girls that have done that over time, but I think with the popularity growing in the sport, it's about offering the opportunities.
That's certainly a sport that's taking off. Will be fun to see. Let's head up to Penobscot Valley High School now, where the Howlers hosted Panquist and one player joined the 1,000-point club. Penobscot Valley senior Ellie Austin scored her 1,000th point in the first quarter of Thursday night's game, where she came out on fire, scoring the majority of her team's points before reaching the milestone. It's an impressive feat from Austin, who has dominated on the pitch in the fall and on the court in the winter, but the Howlers say she's not done yet.
This is kind of a goal I've had for a while now in the back of my mind, but it's just amazing, to have my hard work pay off, all the hard work that my teammates have helped me get through this. They're really the ones that got me through all of this, and I just wanted to say a big thanks to them.
She's done amazing things since she's a freshman. She stepped in as a starter as a freshman, and each year has improved, and I'm just excited for her to continue because this isn't her peak. We've got a lot of big goals, and this is just a step in her journey.
Excited to see where that journey goes. She joins her father, Mike, who is also a member of the 1,000-point club at PVHS, and that made for just a special moment between father and daughter.
It feels great. Ellie's, we've always told Ellie first she's a teammate, and then everything else after that will just fall into place. So, but I'm very excited to have her up there with me, yes.
I've always thought about that since I was a little kid, having my jersey up there with his. It's just kind of always been a goal of mine, but it feels amazing, to get it up there with him.
Congratulations to the Austins. Let's stay on the hardwood now. Thursday night, so it's America East game night. Both Maine hoops teams in action will start at the Pit. It's the border battle in Orono, University of New Hampshire, taking on the Black Bears. Happy birthday to Maine guard Jaden Clayton. Black Bears going for their 6th straight win. First half, Keon Burns gets to his spot at the free throw line, pulls up and drains the mid-range. He had 26 points. Here comes Clayton now, the birthday boy, puts on the moves, pulls up with some space, and he hits a free throw line jumper. Moving on to the second half now, New Hampshire fighting. Sammy Passis gets to the hoop here, and he is going to get the tough bucket to go through contact. Nice job not fouling from Maine, but the Black Bears dominant in this one. Kellen Tynes, he's looking for space here in the post, and he is just going to float this one all the way up there, and that comes down for the bucket. He nails it. Black Bears go on to win 71-46. All right, to the women's game now in Durham. Amy Vachon and the Black Bears, they're looking for 4 straight wins here in conference play. First quarter, Maine up 5. Sarah Talon's going to get it. She goes inside to Carolyn Dotsey, and Carolyn gets to the hole and gets it to go. End of the half now, Maine up 3. Here's Dotsey again. She's going to take it, drive to the hoop, and get the runner to go off the glass. She had a 30-piece in this one. Still close in the second half. Wildcats have it. Diana Eliason, quick first move here, gets to the bucket, and she gets that layup to go. Makes it a 3-point game, but Maine would close the door late. Up 9 in the fourth. Esther Blauenfeld to Paula Gallego. She knocks down the 3. Maine wins their 4th straight, 65-54. All right, here are some other scores from the high school scene. MDI boys taking down Washington Academy in overtime, 65-60. Dexter girls get past Bucksport, 53-49. Central girls take down Orono, 72-42. And then Ellsworth girls get a win over Washington Academy. 2 in a row for the Eagles, 54-34. All right, that is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
It's high school basketball season, and ABC 7 and Fox 22 are here to keep you up to date with your local scores and highlights during Friday Night Fast Break. Get out and support your hometown teams and look for our sports crew to get your own free Friday Night Fast Break t-shirt courtesy of
All That's Metal, Bangor Family Chiropractic, Coastal Auto Parts Bangor, Color Concepts, Sedation Dental, and Barney Mazda.
Your favorite restaurants were half off. It's half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7. Go to foxbangor.com, click on half off dining, and start saving now.
Opa, a Greek Mediterranean dining experience like no other, serving the finest Greek dishes in central Maine. Let executive chef Gage Derbyshire prepare your food while you enjoy a drink. Opa! It's all Greek to me.
Great restaurants from all over Eastern Maine at half off dining from Fox 22 and ABC 7.
Are your gutters weighed down by debris causing them to sag and overflow? I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems. Clogged gutters lead to costly repairs for your home, so skip the cleaning and stop the clogs with Gutter Shutter. Gutter Shutter, the world's best gutter, is a high-performance gutter with a lifetime no-clog guarantee. Stop the clutter, get Gutter Shutter. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
Are you all situated?
I think I'm having fun at work.
It's a fun work day.
Bouncing in my chair.
Yeah, you said that like it was a threat.
I know.
We're having fun today.
We're having fun.
Okay.
You will have fun.
We're gonna have fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's get a look at that forecast with Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Northwoods Hearing Aid Center in Lincoln, Maine, providing quality hearing care while accepting most Medicare Advantage plans and private pay. Contact them today to schedule your free hearing test. Alrighty, here we go. A small crowd advisory is posted until 11 p.m. this evening along the coast. Some active surf will be a possibility until about that point. Meanwhile, moving forward, we do have wave heights that are at around 5 feet, so that is why those small crowd advisories are active. We'll start to see the wave heights backing off later on this evening, but just for a short time or so. But meanwhile, we are waking up to some snowfall this morning. It may accumulate just a little bit, but it will not be a whole lot. We'll push this through, and then our focus will turn across the central and eastern parts of the U.S. as we are watching some showers and even some thunderstorms developing. This will bring a little bit of snow into our backyard coming up later on tonight. So let's talk about futurecast. Our first round of snow will get out of here, maybe a few leftover flurries later on today. And then later on tonight, again, starting at around 8 o'clock or so, we'll watch for snow along and south of Bangor. It will last during the overnight period. It will be out of here by Saturday morning. Saturday, we will see a lot of sunshine, a nice day to overall enjoy things. A few passing clouds maybe as well. But then by Saturday night, we will be under a mostly clear sky. Meanwhile, let's talk about the snowfall, maybe a little bit more of additional snowfall today. Later on tonight, that's when the next round of snow passes through. In general, around 1 to 2 inches of snow possible before it backs off. A few localized areas of up to 3 inches cannot be ruled out along the coast. Otherwise, some gusty winds reaching up to 20 to 25 miles per hour early today. It will back off later on, but then overnight tonight, gusty winds do pick back up again, getting close to 20 to 25 miles per hour at times in some areas. So overall for today, we have mid-30s, mostly cloudy, snow showers in the morning, maybe a few flurries during the afternoon, and that west wind at around 5 miles per hour. By tonight, 9 degrees, mostly cloudy, snow mainly to the south, along and south of Bangor. North wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Again, today and tonight, some higher gusts are possible. For tomorrow, lower 20s, mostly sunny and breezy outside, and the north wind at around 25 miles per hour. Alrighty, let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Northwoods Hearing Aid Center in Lincoln, Maine. Again, lots of sunshine for your Saturday with highs in the low 20s. Groundhog Day on Sunday, mostly cloudy with highs in the low 20s. Another chance for rain and snow on Monday with highs in the upper 30s and upper 20s for your Tuesday under a partly cloudy sky.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snow blowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
I feel like you really get me.
Well, you know, I do my best.
Our first commercial was a hit. What's our next move? Talk like that all the time?
Yeah, and we could sell baked goods. How about a jingle? Get ready for winter at Frost Garage. Let's have a circus. Huh? Let's just tell people the truth. We'll get your snow tires mounted. And we'll get you some winter wipers. We'll make sure your battery's ready to go. Exactly.
We don't need a gimmick.
Get your vehicle ready for winter at Frost Garage in Hamden.
We're Mainers, tough but compassionate. Starting in January 2025, workers and businesses in Maine will begin contributing to the Paid Family and Medical Leave Program. These small contributions will build a fund to support Mainers when we need it most. Whether it's welcoming a child, managing a serious health issue for ourselves or a loved one, securing safety after abuse or violence, or helping during a family member's military deployment. Maine Paid Family and Medical Leave. It's how we care. It's who we are. Learn more at maine.gov/paid-leave.
Got an itchy throat from allergies? New Claritin Liquid provides powerful all-day allergy relief in an instantly soothing liquid. For relief of even your most irritating symptoms, like an itchy throat. New Claritin Liquid. Live Claritin Clear.
You blow me away.
It's a new year of new deals.
I want to be your partner.
And new dreams.
This is for my son.
What you've been able to put together is insanely amazing.
Let's go! Yes!
New Shark Tank tonight on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Fans of Buffalo Wild Wings are possibly in for a real treat, depending on what happens in the Super Bowl. Buffalo Wild Wings is offering 6 free boneless or traditional buffalo wings if the Super Bowl goes into overtime. The restaurant chain gave out 2.5 million free wings last year after the Super Bowl between the Kansas City Chiefs and San Francisco 49ers went into overtime. But if this year's game ends up going into overtime, customers won't be able to purchase the wings until February 24th, so you'll have to wait a little while. The offer is only available for people who dine in and in-person takeout only.
Probably they don't want people hanging out too long after the game.
Yeah.
You know, come back and get your wings some other time.
And if you go get wings, only hang out with people you can trust, because I was just telling Craig I had wings on the last date I was on, and we have not texted each other back.
But that's
so
a whole
maybe
other story.
that's not the best.
Yeah.
It's not very sexy,
Yes,
I think.
not the food of love.
I learned that the hard way.
All right, finally, Taylor Swift, who's fresh off her concert performances and record-busting Eras tour, will be one of the presenters during Sunday's Grammy Award show. Swift has been a presenter twice before, in 2008 and 2009. She may also grace the stage to receive an award as she's nominated for 6 Grammys herself, including Album of the Year for the Tortured Poets department. If she wins, it would be her 5th Album of the Year Grammy. I have a feeling that she'll do quite well at the
She
Grammys.
and her boyfriend are like power couple.
Yeah.
They're in the Super Bowl. She's like one of the most popular artists in the world.
I hear that they have increased Chiefs, people turning out to
Oh,
games
yeah.
by, I don't remember the percentage, but it was a huge percentage
Yeah.
number, 40% increase or something like that.
Money.
So yeah, it's
Yeah.
bringing in some money for the Chiefs.
Yeah, right? Very exciting times. Okay, looks like we're out of time. If you missed anything, you can head to foxbangor.com. We'll start a renewed hour of Good Morning Maine next on Fox 22.
Go have fun at work today. Have a great day, everyone.
Brandywine Graphics makes it easy. We are the top source for screen printing, embroidery, branded merchandise, and direct-to-garment printing with 25 years experience, state-of-the-art equipment, and a commitment to excellence. Why trust your apparel products with anyone else? And now, Brandywine Graphics can easily launch online stores for your school or organization. Simply design your products from brands like Eddie Bauer, Carhartt, and more. Share the link and we'll do the rest. Like we said, Brandywine Graphics makes it easy. Find out more at brandywinegraphics.com or at our Hamden location.
Another morning to savor the crunchy nooks and cranny splendor of a Thomas's English muffin.
Tom, which is a nook and which is a cranny?
That's a nook, cranny, 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 nook, cranny. I mean, they should be teaching you this in school. Huzzah! A toast to breakfast.
Does your dream kitchen look like this? Or this? Or maybe you need a little more inspiration. Get it when you explore the complete in-store showroom displays at Hammond Lumber Company. When you find the look you like, the Hammond team will help you customize it, including accurate 3D renderings, so you can visualize your project before the work begins. Hammond offers delivery from any of the locations across Maine and New Hampshire and professional service after the sale. Your dream kitchen begins when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company.
I'm Jim with Lowry & Associates. One of our clients was a man whose family contacted me after he was badly injured in a hit and run. As a former prosecutor, I was able to work with the police and the DA's office to identify the driver and prove that he was drunk when the accident happened. It was that work that allowed us to get him a $500,000 settlement. If you've been hurt by a drunk driver, call me. I'm your go-to guy.
Hurt by a drunk driver? Call the twos.
Ready to have some fun? Yeah. Somebody's having a night tonight.
I love this wheel. Yes!
Weekdays at 7 on ABC 7.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Good morning, America. The search for answers in the...
And streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, we'll have the latest on the deadly mid-air crash over Washington, along with local reactions.
Plus, fire crews work quickly after fire erupts inside a home in Orrington.
And students from All Saints Catholic School in Bangor are making a difference in their community during National Catholic Schools Week.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. Happy Friday to everyone.
Happy Friday indeed.
Finally made it to Friday. I think everybody's eager to get toward the weekend. I know I am.
Yes.
We'll have all the day's news coming up, but first a check of the forecast, and it looks like we'll have cold weather as we head into the weekend today. Mostly cloudy day with a chance of a few snowflakes here and there.
And it's still January.
Somebody's getting ready to go on
What is
vacation
it?
to a nice warm place now.